Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
We're going to be telling you all about this Lectron EV charger next on Now Let's Review. All right, so if you're looking for a mobile EV charger for your car, you're probably gonna head online and you're gonna start looking and you're gonna get overwhelmed because there's a lot of them now. And so you're probably wondering which ones are good, which ones aren't. And if budget is one of your most important things, this might be the one for you. And you might be like, well, why are you trying to sell me a cheap charger?
Because I want to save you money, frankly. And this charger, I think, is actually pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's about $300, give or take, depending on where you find it. We'll put a link down below. But there's some cool features on this that I think make it worth your while.
First, I just want to start off at the business end. It's got some nice detents there so you can pull this out of the wall, because this is a mobile charger after all. You don't necessarily have to use it like that. But good looking business end, in my opinion. And then you have quite a long cable here.
This is very rare actually nowadays. A lot of them have it end here, so it's a lot harder to plug in because this doesn't bend as easily.
Yeah,
this is a nice bendy cable.
Closer to here. Yeah, fairly bendable cable, so you can kind of squeeze this behind something, have to rest this over here. That's gonna work out pretty well.
But I do want to talk about why it's probably less expensive than other options. If you've seen some of our other reviews, a lot of them allow you to unplug this, and this is a 1450 NEMA, and it would allow you to put other things there. This one, you are stuck with this. This is what it is. So if you don't have a 1450 NEMA, then you can't plug this in. And you might be like, well, I do have one, so all set. Except if this is your mobile charger, you put it in the back of your car, you go for a drive to grandma's house. If grandma doesn't have a 1450, you're dumb out of luck, and you're probably not thinking about that right now. You're thinking like, well, everyone has it. No, there's so many different kinds of plugs. So you're either gonna have to bring some adapters with you, or you won't be able to plug in. So if that's a problem, if that's something you think might happen to you, you might wanna go looking elsewhere, or at least think about getting those adapters.
But also be considering if you have this 220 service in your garage or wherever you're gonna be plugging in your car, and it has the wrong plug, you could probably save money by buying this and buying the proper plug to basically swap out, so that way you could plug this one in.
Wait, you're talking about rewiring?
Yeah, rewire just the outlet.
Yes, if you feel like you have those abilities, or a friend who's an electrician, but otherwise, I don't know if you should do that. Like, that's something Jesse and I do all the time.
Yeah.
But if that's not your thing, yeah, maybe stay clear of this charger. Now, on the front, it's not as pretty as some chargers, I'll be honest. If you take a look at this, it's got 4 LEDs and it's got plus minus buttons. What can it do?
Yeah, and it has a screen.
Oh, it does have a little screen.
And the screen is actually very bright, and tells you quite a bit of information.
Okay.
Including charge time, so you know, like, if you come out to your car and you're like, was it charging all through the night? You can double check that. You can also, if you hold both buttons, much like a digital watch, it will allow you to lower or raise the amount of amps that you can feed to your car.
So I want to talk about that for a second. So you're thinking, well, it's a 1450, which means 50 amps. You're not going to get all 50 amps. You're going to get a maximum of 32 amps. You can lower that down by doing the button push that he just talked about down to 16 amps.
Or doing that in your car. So if you have a Tesla, you may have seen the plus or minus buttons. You can charge as low as 5 amps. This is good for some applications where you're either worried about overheating wiring, or you want your car to charge slower overnight, so that way the battery is nice and warm when you get in there in the morning, or most of the time you just want to charge as fast as possible. Now, 32 amps is the fastest charging speed that you can do AC of a Model 3. So not too bad of an option, and Model Y as well. So not that bad an option for a mobile charger if you know that you're going to be plugging into a 1450 outlet.
Yeah, but do check with your car to see what the maximum charge rate is, because if it's higher than 32 amps, and if you have 50 amps in your garage, you might be able to squeeze a few more amps out of it, and this might not be for you. All right, so what I like is it's got a 21-foot long cable, which is long enough, but not too long. If it's too long, like, it just starts getting all, tangled
heavy
up.
and tangled, yep. And the cable's actually pretty flexible, so you can see there, not too shabby when it comes to bendability, and that's good when you're kind of wrapping it all up and then shoving it into your car, and you have to kind of bend it into place. It also comes with a carrying case, which I think is pretty nice. I don't know if I would necessarily always use it, but if I wanted to keep things organized, it's nice that it comes with one.
And I do want to say, if you've got a 1450 out in the garage that's giving you a maximum of 50 amps, and again, we said this can only take 32, that's actually a good thing, because that means that you're not pulling all the current that your circuit can do, which means you're not overheating those components. We talk about this a lot on the show, but EVs draw power for long periods of time, and wiring was never really meant for that. When you run your electric range or something like that, or your electric dryer, it only runs for like a maximum of an hour. this can charge all night.
Yeah.
And so it's actually a good thing if you're not pulling all the amps you need. This is UL certified, but it's not the extra level of certification. So like if you're looking for something that's definitely not going to catch on fire, you might want to keep looking.
I mean, this one doesn't have triple protection or whatever the other one was, but I'm not too worried about it itself catching on fire. I'm more worried about, you know, house wiring catching on fire before. I mean, look at this thick cable.
Yeah.
Look at this thing. I think it's going to be just fine.
Yep.
But yeah, it is nice that you could turn down the amperage. So that way, also, if you have other stuff that you're doing in your house, if you do want to be running, you know, a dryer or something else on the same circuit, it might not trip the breaker.
Oh, I just want to ask you about this, Jesse. We've seen most of them are like this. That, you know, this is the lock, and this is plastic. Do you have any qualms with that?
You know, this is so standard. This is like one of the most ubiquitous looking charging handles. So I'm not going to say that there's anything wrong with it at all. But with that being said, some of these triggers and latches can be made out of metal, which makes them a little bit more robust. It is possible to snap this plastic retaining thing off of there. It won't make much of a difference electrically, but it would mean that you'd be able to pull out the charger without hitting the button which stops charging, which could be dangerous. I don't anticipate it being much of a problem unless you're going to really be treating this poorly, which you shouldn't do. You should, you know, take good care of it and make sure that this doesn't break off.
How do you like the case?
The case is fine. It's just a bog standard case. It's got some Velcro straps here.
But did they do that thing where they made it too small where like no human can ever get it back in the case? I want to see you put this back in the case.
I think they actually did the opposite. We'll take a look here.
Right.
Lazy way of doing it ain't gonna work. So yeah, you'd either need a shorter forearm.
Well, so I just want to point out, if it's going to be your mobile charger and if you're going to need to keep putting it back in the case, just keep that in mind. It's not their fault. It's just big wires and it's hard to do. But I don't want you walking away thinking, this is so easy. It will take you a couple minutes to put it back when you're done.
I want to talk about just one other use case of this thing, and that is a backup charger. If you have another charging unit that's on your wall and it's plugged into a 1450, and you rely on that, like you really do rely on your home charger for good speeds every day, and if that charger were to ever fail for whatever reason, you might want to back up. Plus, you know, this can always be, you know, sort of sitting in your car as a backup too, but it could back up your home charger if you so needed it. Or you just buy two of them. They're really cheap.
You know what I want to tell you about? If you've watched to the end of the video, here's a little treat for you. We're giving this away. So if you head on over to our Patreon, so it's patreon.com/nowyouknow, we'll put the link down below. Support us for as little as $1 a month. That helps us do all the work that we're doing. And we're going to be giving this away. So we're going to post on Patreon. You'll have a really good chance of winning because not many people even know about it.
Yeah, so I guess I am going to have to put it back in the box, huh?
Yes, or I will. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Please comment down below what you'd like to see us review. And also, if you have questions about this product, we'll try and get those answered for you. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Now let's review.